Hello, ladies, and welcome to the Beauty Shaman. So today I'm going to talk to my friend and fabulous person, Justine Lemos, who is a PhD and Ayurvedic practitioner about cleanses the Ayurvedic way. So thank you so much for joining me, Justine.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here with you. It's just so exciting, and I get to see you because you're one of my favorite people.
Yes.
And I'm super excited to talk about cleansing because it's also, somewhat of a fad almost in America, like especially people who are interested in health and wellness, that, cleansing can be kind of like a buzz thing. You can buy like a 5-day liver cleanse kit at Whole Foods and just go home and do it. And sometimes people are cleansing in ways that are not optimal for them, and we can really create cleanses that can be really right for you, your body, and what you need. So not all cleanses are equal, and not all cleanses are right for all people, and not all people need to cleanse. Some people really do, and some people don't. So I'm super excited to talk about all of this.
That's so interesting that you said that some people don't need to do it, because I actually, I talk to loads of people. I'm obviously very into health. Of, basically the benefits of cleanses and everything you just said, but I thought it benefited everybody. So it doesn't.
Mhm. Well, so Ayurvedically, there are definitely situations where we would not want to cleanse. And these would include pregnancy, nursing, somebody who's on a lot of medications, or, cleansing can mess with medications. And so there are certain times when you wouldn't want to cleanse. Additionally, if you're underweight, it's not a good idea to cleanse. You're already weak. So if there's weakness, if there's been a lot of sickness, you don't want to cleanse if your body is very weak. Actually, what you need to do is strengthen first, and then there may be a need to cleanse secondarily. So there may be two phases. One, like say a month or a couple of months of really strengthening, really boosting the immune system, boosting all of the body, and then the secondary phase would be some cleansing, some gentle cleansing in that case. We usually indicate cleansing for people who are overweight, who are suffering from a lot of what we call pitta dosha, or heat in the body, like hot flashes, rashes, irritation, inflammation. In this case, cleansing is definitely indicated. But for some people, and at some times in the life, elderly people really shouldn't cleanse. We really don't give cleansing when people are over maybe 70 years old, depending upon their constitution. Children don't need to cleanse and shouldn't cleanse. Also, even teenagers, I get worried about kids who are growing and trying, doing these fad diets and cleansing, when really they shouldn't be doing that during that building part of their life. That said, most adults who are stable in their constitution, who have enough energy, who have enough strength and enough ojas, it's fine for them to cleanse. If they're very weakened, if they're very debilitated, if they're just overtaxed, overtired, then that's not what the body needs, and it's not what it's asking. So I'm actually going to start an Ayurvedic cleanse starting in January for people, but I always do a one-on-one consult during the cleanse to make sure that the cleanse is right for you. And if it isn't, then we do what you need, which might be strengthening and then some gentle cleansing. So we actually cleanse in many different ways for many different people and many different body types. But I've definitely been in situations where a client comes to me and says, I want to cleanse. And I say that that's fine. I'm not comfortable with that, and these are the reasons why. And I tell them, you don't cleanse right now. So definitely not indicated for all people and at all times.
So it's interesting. As you know, I love cleanses, and I do a cleanse. I do like twice a year, sometimes more. My body loves it. Like, I just feel so phenomenal on cleanses. I've tried a myriad of cleanses. I've kind of got more narrowed down of what works and what doesn't work. So the cleanse that you have coming up is January 1st. Okay. So it's right after like the pig out, right? Like, so, I end up eating too much and drinking too much. Like I end up, when I enjoy myself, I'm like, wee, and I have all the things I shouldn't have, like sugars and gluten, like, the whole thing. I go for it. So January 1st, what would be different about this cleanse? What is particular or special or unique about an Ayurvedic cleanse as opposed to, of course, there's millions out there, like you said. So what are people getting themselves into if they do this?
So the first thing that I want to really highlight is that what you just talked about, that kind of yo-yo, is something that I see a lot, that people get into. I'm going to be really quote unquote good during the cleanse time, and then I'm going to go wild between. And they somehow think that because they do a cleanse twice a year or whatever, that then they get free license to drink and eat however they kind of want, And so one thing in the cleanse that I really emphasize, especially during the later part of the cleanse, is really intuitive eating and really conscious eating and really staying and really looking at self-sabotage and really looking at our eating habits as indicative of really where we are with consciousness, with our alignment with ourselves, so that we aren't doing this yo-yo back and forth, good days, bad days. Really the whole cleanse is infused with self-love and really infused with increasing self-love. So, but what are the main differences of an Ayurvedic cleanse and kind of other cleanses? I have some familiarity with a lot of cleanses that are out there, but I'm not an expert in other types of cleansing. For the Ayurvedic cleanse, we take a first week and we really start to prepare ourselves. And one difference between an Ayurvedic cleanse and other types of cleanses is we take a lot of time preparing the body to cleanse. Other types of cleanses can often be very drying to the tissues. And I often will see in my practice people coming in who have done a lot of cleansing and they feel great during the cleanse. And then when they're off of the cleanse, they have a lot of gas and pain and bloating, and they don't feel so good. And this is because the cleanses that they have been doing are actually drying them out. Now, when you dry out the tissues, it can cause you to lose weight, which a lot of people like. However, it's going to dry out the digestive tract as well. And so I can't tell you how many times I've done cleanup on kind of what I consider to be not optimal cleanses or bad cleanses that have dried out the tissues and driven gunk, what we call ama, back into the tissues. And so we take a lot of time preparing the body and oilating the body and the digestive tract to prepare us for the cleanse. So the first week is generally moving into no alcohol, no caffeine, moving away from heavy dairy, moving away from heavy grains and meats. And it's not that we eat this way forever, and I actually don't tell people to eat this way forever, but when we're cleansing, we want to give the digestive tract a rest. As we move into the second week, we're really moving almost all cooked foods, which could be different from other cleanses. This is not a raw food cleanse. Ayurveda really favors cooked, warmed food. So moving into the second week, it's really vegan, warm cooked food. And then the third week, we move into really deeper cleansing. And I generally move people through one of three different tracks. The most intensive track is what we call a Virachana. And we use substances, including ghee and some other substances, to really clean the liver, the gallbladder, and the whole digestive tract. But that's for somebody who really has a good amount of strength and really kind of wants a more intensive cleanse. For someone who is a little bit less strong, or perhaps has something like hemorrhoids or colitis, we would never do Virachana for them. We'd use aloe. We actually use aloe and prunes to clean the digestive tract, the colon, to flush some heat out of the liver. And then for someone who's even more weak, we'll do it without the aloe juice. We'll just use prunes and raisins during the third week to clean out the digestive tract in that way. And then we're also using very nurturing Ayurvedic teas, Ayurvedic spices throughout. And then the fourth week during the cleanse, it's a 4-week cleanse, we really take time to rekindle the digestion. Because this is what I often see in cleansing is that people cleanse and then they go right back to their normal diet. Or maybe there's a little bit of augmentation, but they're like, thank God, I'm done with this juice cleanse. I'm done with this juice fast. I'm going to go eat really heavy Indian food or something like that because they're so hungry. And that's not, your digestion is very, very weak at that time. So eating very heavy food is going to cause more problems. So we take a whole week to just slowly integrate food back into the diet and really move into the diet that is optimal for you Ayurvedically. So I think those are some of the main differences. They're kind of how we move through the cleanse.
Well, what I like about what you're saying is that it's very specific for the individual, and you talk with the individual and you figure out who they are and you work with them and their digestive system and their body. It's not just a blatant sort of, this is the cleanse. It sounds like you really give a lot of attention to teaching and educating people about their diet.
Yeah, really just about their diet and really about what cleansing they can use. And then, people who enroll in my cleanse, they just get access to it and then they can do it on their own. Again, sometimes they want to consult with me, sometimes they don't, but they kind of have that knowledge and that of how to move through an Ayurvedic cleanse, and really for most people, a couple of times, sometimes 3 times a year can be a good idea for a cleanse as long as they're not severely weakened or emaciated or any of the other things that I mentioned.
So you also said in the beginning that you like to really focus on self-love. And so it's not so much of a beating the body. And this is one of my issues with cleanses or with diets in general, is there's a lot of violence to the body and a lot of suffering to the body, as opposed to this idea of loving and nourishing. And so maybe you could explain a little bit about how you do that, how Ayurveda does that within a cleanse.
Sure. Yes, so the whole cleanse and Ayurveda itself is very body positive. Like we always want to love where we are and who we are. And if we're cleansing, we're doing it because we're doing it out of self-nurturing and we're doing it out of self-love. We're not punishing ourselves. We're not restricting ourselves. And in this cleanse, like some other cleanses, you feel really hungry. You're really hungry throughout and you're like, I just go to bed because I'm so damn hungry, right? But in this cleanse, you should never feel really hungry at all. You want to feel gently full, but the foods that you're eating are very easy to digest and they're allowing the body to reduce what we call ama, which is metabolic waste. It's gunk factor and it's a byproduct of weak digestion. So we're strengthening digestion and then we are gently cleansing out what is gunk factor. The other thing that we do throughout the cleanse is a warm oil massage. This is called abhyanga in Ayurveda. And warm oil, one of the names of oil in Sanskrit is sneha, which means love. The name of oil or the word for oil is love. So as we're putting warm oil on our body, hopefully daily, sometimes it's not daily, we're really doing this very loving act. And then we take a warm shower and we rub the oil into our body. And so this is just one of the cornerstones of Ayurvedic cleansing, where we're really using the whole cleanse to nurture ourselves. We aren't trying to punish ourselves. We aren't trying to really get really goal oriented about a particular number, but really we're offering ourselves a feeling state of what do I feel like when I don't eat ice cream and I don't take alcohol and I, stop taking caffeine all the time and I actually give myself rest and I give myself warm food, nourishing food regularly throughout the day. I mean, just that is often revolutionary for people. And then we do some gentle cleansing, which, quite frankly, can make you go to the bathroom a good amount for a couple of days, but it's nothing too drastic. And then how do you feel after you have released that ama that you've been carrying around, that, undigested gunk that accumulates in the body, and then you rekindle the digestion and then you feel very, very good. And so the whole process is really one of loving yourself.
Well, I love the idea of, this is why I do cleanses actually. Everything you just said is why I love to do them, because it gets me in touch with how I'm feeling, how my body's feeling, how I'm feeling emotionally. It's amazing how much, we sort of comfort eat or whatever. And then to really get in touch with that and let go of all that, whatever you call it, the gunk, right? You have a nice Sanskrit word for that. But by the end of cleanses, I always just feel like, wow, I feel so light. Even if I do or don't lose weight, generally I do, but it's just like this lightness and a greater awareness of what the heck's going on, really brings that. And that's what I love about it.
That's right. I also really caution people, however, because people often, when they cleanse, or say they do a juice cleanse or something like that, or a water fast or something, which this is not, you're eating food pretty much throughout. But then when they come out of the cleanse, they'll do an elimination diet in reverse. They'll start with like whatever it is and layer on, and they'll have some reaction. They'll feel digestive pain, or they'll get a rash or something. And they'll think to myself, oh, because they're adding in, from like the base of juice, they're slowly adding in things and seeing what they might have allergies to, or they think they have allergies to. And so they think, oh, I can't eat dairy. Now, what has happened is when they've cleansed, their digestive tract has gotten weak because they've just been taking juice, or they've just been taking water, or whatever it is. And so quite naturally, they can't digest something heavy like dairy very well. So I often tell people, don't assume that after a cleanse, just because you have a reaction to something, that's off the table forever. One thing that I feel very passionate about is it's so sad when people have eliminated so much from their diet, or they become convinced that they can't eat so many things, when really the factor is just digestive weakness. Of course, there are really true allergies, and there is really true celiac disease, and there are all these things. But most people, if their digestion is strong, they can eat almost anything, and they can enjoy their food. Of course, there are some things that Auyrveda doesn't recommend. We don't recommend a lot of processed sugar. We don't recommend a lot of pastries, things like that. But, most people can eat dairy if their digestion is strong enough. Most people can eat gluten if their digestion is strong enough, and do very well on it, and process it very well, and eat it very well. But, oftentimes the digestion has become weak. So we spend a lot of time in this cleanse strengthening digestion, which is something that I feel really passionate, because it's so sad when people, are down to eating, like they think they can, I see it over and over in my practice, they think they can only eat sweet potatoes and bone broth or something. And how much enjoyment can you take out of life and out of your food when you think you can only eat like 3 things? And food is there to be enjoyed. And we really want to enjoy our food. So this is also part of this cleanse program.
That's wonderful. And, I've had digestive issues. We've talked about this. I've had some pretty serious digestive issues. Digestive issues. They call it IBS, but, it's digestive issues. And so, we've talked a lot, you and I have discussed this, about how the Ayurvedic diet can really benefit this and in what way. And we've gone into some details and everything that you're saying about what you're going to be doing in January 1st. So maybe we could go to that date is coming up, and the enrollment starts on the 17th of December.
Yeah.
People can pre-enroll, which is great, right?
Yeah, there's a waiting list right now. And then the people who are on the waiting list, when I open enrollment December 17th, get the first places.
Great. So that's upcoming. But in January, when you do this 4-week cleanse, what I love, and I really want to encourage the audience to take to heart in this, is they're going to learn so much from this. Because, even just being around you, we spent that, 3-day shoot together, and I walked away from that going, oh my God, I've learned so much from being there with you, and I've implemented a lot of things. And I think what's great about this is it's just so educational for each person's specific body type. Which, if you're like me and have, digestive issues, which have plagued me for years, this is a great way to really learn more about your body and stop eating just sweet potatoes and bone broth. That sounds terrible. Oh my God. But I've been there, where I was living on rice and boiled eggs.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And, this is not healthy. It's not natural. It's not good. And there gets to be so much fear around food, and what we can and can't eat, and eliminating this and eliminating that. And there's so much confusion around diet, because we have too many choices. And actually, in fact, a lot of our digestive weakness having too many choices. In cultures, and I've lived in cultures like this where there are 3 meals a day and it is pretty much the same food 3 meals a day. And to us, that sounds very, very boring. But for our digestion, it's really regular. It knows what it's getting and it knows what time it's getting it. So much digestive weakness comes from just eating, snacking throughout the day, not eating a good warm meal, and eating very irregularly, that then the digestion and stress and fear, the digestion gets weaker and weaker. And then all of a sudden you are down to just eating rice and eggs and you don't know what to do. And there's so much pain. I've had so many people come to me who are, in such a state of fear about, and that creates more fear, which then goes to the stomach and becomes a self-reflexive cycle that really it's, really, like I say, we want to be able to eat everything or almost everything and really enjoy it. And then, the cleansing comes in when we start to accumulate gunk. And through the fall and going into the winter, it's really good to cleanse at the change of seasons. And I also address this both in the cleanse and then when I do the one-on-one. Like, look at, like, if you live somewhere where it's starting to snow and it's very, very cold, we want to do different things for the body than someone who's living at the beach in Hawaii. So we have to adjust things, which is why I don't do, a blanket cleanse that enrolls 1,000 people or something like that. It's really individually tailored.
That's great. And I think that makes it very special because most cleanses are not like that. They're kind of broad, right? So this makes it very unique. And I do want to kind of make a plug here for beauty, because we did talk about this before we started. When we talk about beauty, I kind of want to go there as we close out. Because whenever I do a cleanse, my skin looks incredible because I'm taking all these wonderful oils. I'm not having the things that are causing problems, especially under here. Like I end up getting, I'm a little tired right now. My dad's been in the hospital. We talked about that. So, it's been kind of hard, but when I do a cleanse, man, I look in the mirror and I'm like, damn, I look amazing. Like it really, your whole body shifts and it's just such a powerful gift to yourself, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really noticed that. I had a group of clients go through a cleanse right at the beginning of fall. And, I do the cleanse online. So there's videos that you move through that are really short. They're like 5-minute informational videos. You get tons of recipes, PDFs, downloads. And then I do one-on-ones with people online all the time. This client lived locally, but we had been working online and she came into my office and I was after the cleanse and I was like, she looked completely transformed just in terms of the tone of her skin and just her whole vibrancy, her whole aura or her whole kind of energy had just shifted and was so much clearer. And so, I do think that the cleansing does wonderful things for our skin and it does wonderful things for our eyes and our hair and our digestion. But there's also just something about our energy, which is an overused word, but our energy just uplifts and kind of we begin to shine from the inside out. We begin to radiate and vibrate at a different frequency when we, eliminate the things that are pulling us down. And we know that the nightly glass of wine or the bowl of ice cream or whatever it is, it creates gunk factor. It makes us tired. It makes us run down and we're not functioning at our optimal. So yes, absolutely. I think that it increases our beauty, but not just our beauty on a superficial level. We can look at, I sometimes do this with students when I do a beauty course, specifically on Ayurvedic beauty. We look at pictures of beautiful people, so-called beautiful people. And yeah, they're all beautiful. They have attractive features, whatever it is, but there are some that really radiate the beauty from the inside out. And so that inner beauty is what begins to shine when we start to cleanse.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, I'm so pro inner beauty. And, I believe the inner and outer are intrinsically connected. You cannot separate them. That's my big beef with the beauty industry. We won't go there because it's totally I can really talk about that. But it's inner and outer, and it's honoring your inner self. And what does that look like? And that's something I'm very, speaking of passions, I'm super passionate about that. But I love what you're doing, Justine. I believe this is such a key thing for women and men, but obviously we're talking to women here, to embrace is really learning about their bodies, what their body needs, really educating themselves on their own health, taking responsibility and power back when it comes to their own physical health. And this is one way they can totally do it, is by joining your cleanse January the 1st. And to go to your website, which is justinelemus.com. And then in the drop down, I went there and looked. In the drop down, it says about the cleanse, and you can pre-register for that. So thank you so much, Justine, for coming in.
Yeah, and also on the homepage, if you roll down the homepage, there's a big thing about the cleanse right now.
Oh, great. Okay, that's good to know. All right. Well, thank you so much, Justine. And ladies, thank you for watching The Beauty Shaman. Please go to Justine's website, justinelemus.com. I'll put it down below in the credits, and I'll put more information there for you. And please write down below what you think about cleanses, about Auyrveda, any questions you might have. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for watching The Beauty Shaman.